topic.
Oh, we're live. You hit the button.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't.
I like how
There's
you
always
just
like a second delay.
I like how you just
Um,
like that. No heads up, no warning. Welcome to Office Hours, everybody. My name is Nora. I'm here with Sto, and this is the place where you get practical advice for independent artists, where we actually care about your mental health and your success and your well-being all in one, rather than telling you toxic things like you can sleep when you're dead and all the other kind of nonsense that you hear. Um, which is a good reminder because we haven't done a mental health episode in a long time. Take a break, make sure you're drinking water, make sure you're resting, make sure you're, checking in on your friends, make sure you're asking for help if you need it. Music business, music industry, creative entrepreneurship is a long-term game, and so we don't want you to burn out. And so if you need support, we've got a ton of episodes around mental health and how it impacts us as creatives and as creative entrepreneurs especially. So even though today we're talking about festivals, just special shout out to that because you matter as a human being. Your value in the world is not tied to your productivity or your output. And we want you all to do well and thrive in whatever way that means something to you. So, little side note before we jump into today's episode.
yeah, exactly. Make sure again, take time for yourself. Like we need you out here. Stay hydrated and whatnot. Rest up, and again, like resting is part of the grind. Believe it or not, so that's super important. But we are here for episode 69, nice, of Office Hours, talking specifically about the festival circuit. And there's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, a lot of artists, creatives in general, are always trying to get on festivals and whatnot. And so, honestly, it's an episode we should have done a while ago. But yeah, there's a lot of like cool little topics we're kind of discovering, I guess. And this is another good one. So
And as always, this is interactive. Drop your comments in the chat. Drop your comments in the comment section if you're watching this after the fact. We want to hear your questions, your experiences, your own thoughts and reactions. So what do you think some of the biggest misconceptions around festivals are?
oh boy. I mean, one of the biggest ones is that the only festivals that exist are South by Southwest, Coachella, Bonnaroo, stuff like that. That's just simply not the case, especially now. There's so many different festivals, like even within your own state, let alone city. So I think that's the biggest one. And then second, that like a festival performance appearance, whatever is that's how you make it. That's it. I just got to land on the festival and I'll be good. Um, those are my two really big ones. Oh, my bad. Last one. That like you don't need to really put in any work outside of the performance. Um, when you've landed a festival. That one I just didn't realize many artists didn't know about, but I've seen too many artists do festivals, do shows, and do nothing with it.
Yeah. So let's break those down. So the first one you said was that Coachella, et cetera, are the only festivals. There is literally a world of festivals. And I don't want you, especially if you're earlier in your career, I don't want you to overlook the small ones. Don't overlook the virtual ones that are still happening. One, because it allows your fan base to grow strategically, or what's the word I'm looking for? Organically. So as you go from side, like as you scale up, your audience will scale with you. It
Right.
lets you learn how to be a dynamic performer. A lot of artists don't have, that's not something that they practice. So you'll get on a big stage, you don't know how to carry a crowd. And it lets you practice crowd conversion because, to your other point that you made, just because you get in front of a crowd and there's 1,000 people there doesn't mean that those people will become your fans overnight. You have to teach them who you are. You have to teach them how to follow up with you. You have to teach them to fall in love, all the things. So 100%. And I really encourage people, again, to look at like smaller festivals. Shout out to Den Music Fest that I produce. So easy access, like I don't want to be like easy access, but like really accessible for artists. And we explicitly look for artists who are earlier in their careers, who don't have huge vanity metrics, who are making good music. So there's tons of festivals for you at different stages, depending on what your niche is. Like really study that. The other one that you said is about like, just because you show up, y'all, doesn't mean like your work is done. Festival is an entry point, but now
Right.
you get to network, you get to collaborate with, you get to build relationships with all the other artists who are on that stage, you get to make friends with the booking agent, you get like, that's where the real work shows up. So I know a lot of artists go to the hotel, go to the venue, go back to
Right.
the hotel. Like, y'all, that's not the way to do it at all. And then what was the other one you said, Sto?
What did I say? I mean, I guess that you like need a festival
Right.
to succeed, and that's in everything that we talk about, like on like a grander scale. Like it doesn't matter if it's playlists, it doesn't matter if it's blogs, it doesn't matter if it's festivals. You don't need them to succeed, but you do need the people that are involved with all this stuff. So if you aren't taking advantage, especially the festivals thing, like I literally just said this, but there's so many of you that are already performing, but you're not like taking advantage of it, and then you're wondering why like you're like things aren't picking up for you. Um, and so whether it's a show or an entire festival, like and again, we're not saying like you need to turn into a content machine, but you do need to educate people on what happened there. Because the other thing that's like, think of it from this standpoint, like all your fans are not going to be able to make it to your show or your festival. It's impossible, especially in the case that some of you have fans that are overseas. And so if you're just showing up to perform, doing the performing thing, and then that's it, you've like actually missed one of the slowest pitches in baseball. Like it's such an easy home run. Once you've actually gotten onto a festival, like take advantage of that. What are you doing at the festival? Like Nora said, network with people, link up with people. You can really build relationships and stuff like that at
Can I share a
festivals and
tip?
whatnot.
Because festival is a great excuse to get you to a place.
Yeah.
And if you never leave the festival bubble, you actually, how do I say this? It's a great opportunity for you to build relationships in whatever city that you're in. So if you never leave that festival bubble, you actually haven't really connected with that city. So it's I used to do this when I was like heavy going to conferences and things like that. I would stay 2 or 3 days after the conference was over so I could have meetings and follow up with people and do the work. You know, you meet people at a conference, it's like, oh, cool, we'll follow up, or at a festival, and it's like great and wonderful. And then everybody goes back to their cities and we forgot who we met, or we're so burnt out from 3 days of nonstop this and that. And so if you can, give yourself a couple days before, but really after, to stay and connect with local artists, connect with local venues, to follow up with people, to really go into studios, go to a couple open mics, like whatever it might be, but to deep dive into strengthening that relationship in whatever space you're in, so that then so leveraging a festival or a conference or whatever isn't just about being on the stage. It's everything you do before, during, and after. And that's both in real life, right? Relationships, meetings, all of that. But also what Sto was saying in terms of making sure you tell the story. Are you getting photos? Are you getting video? Are you capturing content? Are you meeting with fans? Are you documenting your, journey, all of that kind of stuff, so that people get invested and they care. It's all part of this, is something we talk about all the time, that also we talk about in the mystery episode. If you go back a couple episodes, is all about telling your story.
And like that, the festival's part of that story. And so like, if you're just showing up to perform and you're not at least documenting pieces of that experience, it's like there's no proof that you did it, and you kind of just threw in a bunch of money for a flight, threw in a bunch of money for a hotel, all this other stuff. I'm sure you posted some pics on IG. That's probably a guarantee. But like, even just one festival appearance, and even just like a really good show in general, can really like propel you if you use it correctly. But some of you are like doing show after show after show after show, but like not really showing what you did at the show. And then you wonder why fans don't really catch on.
Here's another tip. Because one of the benefits of a festival is you have a whole bunch of artists and a whole bunch of fans in one place. So the opportunity for like cross-pollination ideally becomes greater. You know who else is going to be on the stage with you before you get to that venue. You know who else is going to be before, like, the lineup. Great opportunity to slide into one, tag everyone else as you're promoting your own performance. And then two, slide into those DMs respectfully and be like, hey, Sto, I'm performing at such and such festival that I know you're also on. Really excited to catch your set. I'm performing at this time. Let's link up while we're there, see what we could do together. Boom. Yeah. Right now, when you get to the festival, even if that person doesn't respond, you're now a more familiar name, a more familiar face, so that when you're both in the green room together, you're backstage together, or you happen to meet at the hotel lobby, there's a familiarity. So the relationship building around festivals can start before you ever get there. Too many of you wait until the moment in the chaos of everything.
Yeah, there's no way.
And that's not the place to do it. So you can start the relationship building beforehand. And then make plans intentionally for what the follow-up is, so that the festival actually, Sto, you and I, Sto, are such a good example for this. Sto and I connected on Twitter. Then during a festival where Sto was doing some shows, I was speaking, we met up in real life. And our meet up in real life was where we were like, oh, Sto's cool, Nora's cool, we get along, we like each other. And then we went back, we spent like maybe an hour and a half together tops, but it gave us like a real life experience that our whole working relationship and really our friendship has been built on ever since. It's how we collaborate together now. We do consults together. We do workshops together. We do all, like, Sto is a real friend to me. Like, and so, but that was formulated because our Twitter relationship had a moment to like meet in real life. And so you got to be able to create those opportunities for yourself. And the beauty of festivals, and there's something about festivals where people are open to that, right? It's different than a show, because you go to a show and people just think they're going to go in and out. But if you're at a festival or you're at a conference, people are open to talking to strangers and they want to meet people. That's the whole expectation. And so, doing some of your pre-work and establishing some of those things can make the festival experience pay the dividends that you want it to pay.
Right. And I just wanted to make sure I wrote down, like, you can network not just with artists. Like, it's very easy to like have this tunnel vision when it comes to festivals and whatnot. But like if you, especially in not even necessarily the bigger ones, but even some of what I consider like the mid-tier ones that people aren't as familiar with, but are still doing incredible things, they're usually doing a lot more than just performances. There's usually like actual like painters or producers, engineers, educators, whatever. Like, that's a really big chance to actually network. Like, I see on social media all the time, no one wants to work with me, no one wants to network. But like, unfortunately, I think some artists think networking is, dang, I really want to perform overseas someday, make it happen. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, that's not networking. That's, that I get it. We shoot the Steph Curry shot. We see if it goes in. But like, if you actually make active moves to link up with people, like the people that are going to those festivals are trying to do something of the same thing. So if you approach honestly and are open to like actual collaboration and stuff, there's no telling what can happen. The last thing I'll throw in is networking and stuff like that does not mean only asking to link up for like radio interviews and all this other press stuff. Like, I'm not saying that can't be done at festivals, but that's not networking.
I'm going to change the subject a little bit, but you said something that one of the biggest misconceptions that I've seen is that artists think that they just got to be like, oh, I want to be on a festival, and someone will magically find
It would
them
just pop
and call
up.
them. This is how you know I'm old school, because this is how I do calling instead of like, anyways, we'll just magically call them and be like, hey, we want you on our festival. That is not
Right.
how it works.
No.
Most,
Right.
especially like, and I know a lot of you have seen the Coachella map that shows all the agencies that actually represent the artists that get booked. It's like 3: CAA, William Morris, and I
There's a
forget.
bunch of white people, probably.
It's like three main agencies that book all the artists for Coachella because they're agents. So you have to be proactive in getting yourself on some of the festivals that you want to be at. So I'm not saying you all need to go out and get agents right now. I don't, you might be at that stage, you might not be, but at the very least, you should be actively looking for festivals, and you should be actively submitting to festivals.
Right.
You should be, and I can tell you, because again, we take submissions at Den Music Fest. Biggest mistakes that people make is their links don't work. They don't follow directions in the application. They don't send their own music. And this is wild that I have to say this, but I'm going to say it. If someone is asking for your performance reel, that they want to see you perform, they want to see you perform to your own music. They don't want to see someone like dancing to your song on an Instagram clip. That's not the same thing as like a performance video. They don't want to see your behind the scenes like teaser trailer. They don't want to see your music video.
A music video.
See you
Oof.
like performing over a soundtrack of some other rapper's song. We want to see you performing to your music. We want to see what the audience looks like and how they're reacting to you. And we want to see you performing. So that's such a key piece if you're going to be submitting to festivals. Make sure you have your contact information correct. Make sure your links work. Make sure you check your email after you've submitted. It's amazing how many times we've been like, hey, we'd love to have you perform. And then the artist just never responds. They submitted. And then I get a DM later and they're like, hey, did you get my application? Check your emails. So there's a lot of responsibility that you as an artist have to take in terms of applying and submitting and making sure you're doing everything that's in your control. At the end of the day, you're not going to be able to control if someone says, yes, you're right for our festival or not. But you can control making sure all the pieces are there so that you increase your chances when that time comes. I have one more thing I want us to talk about, but I want to see still if you have anything else to add on this.
I was just gonna essentially say on top, like, please, like, follow directions. Like, it's kind of unbelievable, actually. Like, we all, got semi-decent schooling out here, okay? Like, come on. Like, it really is. It is unbelievable how many artists I've run into that just flat out will not, one, just don't want to apply to festivals. Like, I'm sorry, dog. Like, if you want to get onto a festival, you're going to have to stop what you're doing for a second, sit down at a computer and apply. Like, that has to happen. Like Nora said, the whole, like, yeah, I really want to be on a cool festival someday. That's all you're going to hear, because no one's going to say anything. No curator's going to pop out and be like, oh, yo, yeah, totally. Like, yeah, we'll have you right now. Like, there are hundreds.
Sorry, not to cut you off, but like, you can't go from not having performed anywhere to performing on the biggest festivals. Like,
yeah.
And I can't stress this enough, but being a good performer is a talent and skill in and of itself. You might be sick as fuck in the studio. You might be the greatest writer you've ever seen, but that doesn't mean that you can translate that energy to the audience. That doesn't mean you have crowd control. It doesn't mean you know how to call and response. It doesn't mean you can tell and emote a story. And so bookers want to see that there's some experience there before they put you in front of 1,000 people, 3,000 people, 20,000 people. So don't overlook, again, like I keep stressing, but don't overlook the small places, because that's where you build the skills, and that's where you put the assets, right? Of that prove to me that, oh, okay, you do have stage presence. I can see a video. You are going to engage with me and follow directions so that you can participate in this festival, this, that, and the other. It's part of the proof that you're ready for what you're asking for. The other thing I want to make sure, like, because I know people will be like, well, where do I find the festivals? Research. Look at
research. Wait a minute.
Y'all,
I'm sure you guys have already clicked out. Why should we be doing research? I'm the artist. Why am I doing research? I'm not a scientist.
If you want to be a successful working professional artist, the business, the admin is part of the work, y'all. Like, I know you just want to make music, put it on the internet, and in a perfect world, we could all do that and we'd have universal income and we wouldn't have to worry about it. But if you want to make money off your art in today's world, you got to treat it like a business. And part of treating it like a business is doing research, checking your emails, making time for the admin, building relationships. And so research festivals, research live music, research calls for submissions, research who are artists whose trajectory you liked, and go back and look at the festivals that they've performed at. Who sounds like you? Where are they getting booked? And look at what shows they've done or what festivals they've been on. So you could do a lot of like backtracking and using other people's blueprint to guide yours, right? You got to do the research, You got to do the research. Like there's no way around it. And here's the thing, it sets you apart from the people that don't want to do it, because there's a lot of artists that really are just kind of waiting around for someone to pick them up, and it doesn't work like that. The other thing I'll mention on Nora's point in terms of like build it, like it's practice. You're putting in your 10,000 hours at these other festivals and other venues when you're performing, because listen, I know it sounds crazy and you can have some of the best music on planet Earth, but like performing in a huge crowd is a completely different ball game than you know, even rapping at a packed venue. It's just different. Like we're not saying that it's that like you're not ready for it just yet, but you might not be, to be honest. Like it takes time to build up to that. And so, you know, some of you are thinking that you can go from debut album to headliner at Coachella. Like it doesn't work like that. And it's kind of good that it doesn't work like that. So yeah, research is important because there are festivals all over the world that are looking for acts and stuff like that, of all genres too. Like the festivals that we see advertised to us and marketed to us on social media is barely scratching the surface of what's out there. It really is. It just takes some time to research, take some time to actually put in some applications. The only other thing I really wanted to slide in is like, you don't necessarily have to make sure your branding is perfect, but it does help if someone asks for your Twitter or asks for your IG, like make sure it accurately represents you and what you're bringing to the festival that you're applying for. Because if you apply to a festival and you put in a link and then they go to your page and they can't figure out like who you are, because you're just posting memes and all this other stuff, they're gonna be like that's a risk. Like the other part you guys have to remember is that these festivals are run by companies that are trying to make money. So if you are putting their money at risk, they're not going to put you on there. And so if they hop on your page and it's just all these crazy memes and you're super sexist and saying all this crazy stuff, they're not going to book you because that puts their money at risk. So you know, again, we're not saying you have to be super professional, hibbly fibbly, but like you have to at least represent yourself accurately, because again, these people that are looking at platforms and clicking links, they haven't met you yet. They don't know you. So they're making assumptions based on what you have put out there. If you haven't accurately portrayed yourself or whatever, they're going to take that assumption and be like, okay, so this person's racist, crazy, and super violent. Okay, we're out of here. Like
they're not going to put you on there. So again, I feel like we've dropped a lot in 25 minutes, but it really is just about actually following directions and putting in your application and doing the research beforehand so that you actually understand like what you're applying to and what they're getting from you. But also making sure, again, that your platforms accurately represent who you are, because if they start making assumptions, they're usually going to make the wrong ones. And then now you're out of an opportunity.
I have one more thing before our 30-minute. We try to keep these short and sweet so y'all can take the gems that you need. But I want to have one more thing. Two more things. I lied. One, this is also a great reason why you should have a website. Because if I'm going to ask for a link that lets me learn more about you, you can direct me to your website that you've curated, or you can direct me to your Instagram where I can find out a lot more information about who you really, really are. And sometimes you don't want that. And this is true. Like we've at Den have excluded artists who are great, super talented, make good music, but then they give us an Instagram link and it's some like sexist bullshit or some racist bullshit. We're not going to put you on our stage. So this happens. It's not just something we're just saying, this really happens. But the thing I wanted to bring us back to is, if I'm performing on a festival, should I pay to submit? Should I pay to play? Should I be paid to perform?
Oh, I didn't realize you were actually asking me.
Oh, first off, these are questions that I know artists are thinking, right?
Right.
And we have a whole episode, y'all, about things that you should not pay for in the music industry. So just off the bat, you should never pay to play. Like that's when I will pay, where you pay the promoter so that you can get on a stage. We don't
pay to submit either. What? So I can't even believe. I'm not going to go too far into it because it's kind of wild and crazy. But like, there are now festivals that are charging money just for you to have a chance to get on their festival. For the love of God. And like, and again, we only say this because to us, like, it may seem like common sense, but there are so many artists, managers, whatever out there that actually think that this is a strategy. It's not. It's a scam to get them paid.
And let me say something about that, because those festivals, I promise you, the headliners did not pay. So it's literally a scam to target early career, like artists who are really hungry, really thirsty, really like grinding, who are going to get like first, second, like low tier slots, all of that, who will pay to maybe perform, to maybe submit, but the headliner is never paying money to submit their application because they're like, so I really want people to understand how this works. And this is like, we're not talking about Coachella level stuff. We're talking about like on the independent festivals,
like names you might not even know, for real.
Yeah. So I just want to, like, Sto and I didn't talk about this, but you're hearing it from Sto and you're hearing it from me separately. You should not pay to submit. You should not pay to perform. Now, not all festivals will pay you to perform. And that is where you can then decide, is it worth it for you?
Exactly. And like, because it can be.
And it can be, right. And we'll put a link. I have a whole article that I've written about this that breaks down for you, like all the things you should think about. So we'll put that in the notes below. But you should really think about, is this the audience I want to get in front of? All the things that we've talked to you about in terms of like networking, leveraging, having your assets in place so you can do the follow-up. Those are all the things you should have in place before you think about, if I get in front of these people, will it give me the return I want it to have? Because for a lot of you, you don't need money. I mean, we all need money, right? Fuck that shit. But like, what you really need in terms of taking your career to the next level is not a couple $1,000s. It's a relationship, it's networking, it's a connection, it's it's those kinds of things. So maybe the festival can get that in front of you. Right. But think about it and be strategic. But you should not pay to submit and you should not pay to play. Like, let's be really clear about that.
Right. Because Nora broke it down. Like it's just a way for them to get more money in their pockets. It's just not worth it. All right, this was a good one. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe we look into doing part 2 for some episodes in the future, but um, let us know your festival experience. I'm sure some of you have either performed, submitted, etc. Let us know what your experience has been like, some of the difficulties that you've had. Let us know about the festivals that you have performed at, and if you have any questions about festivals in general. Geez, we know that it's a topic that artists are constantly asking us about, and that they want to get involved in at a deeper level. So yeah, let us know what you think. As always, do the things that YouTube loves. Leave us a like, for the love of God. Like right now, Like some of y'all may have already exited out, but leave a like. It takes 2 seconds and it's free 99. Leave a like. And subscribe. I think, are approaching 640, 650. I can't remember, but we've gained a couple subs over the last couple of days. We really appreciate the support. We're working on a lot of different things to try to, up our game here, but it all starts with your support and whatnot. Yeah, Nora, any last words?
I mean, if you've got some extra cash, drop us a donation. Sto and I are honestly, like, I think as both
rent due shit.
I mean, rent due, but also like we've been talking about taking some of these episodes and repackaging them. Would love to hire an editor who can help us do some like better video stuff, so you can get like, just, we're trying to up our game here. But we do this for really we do this out of like love and support for the artists that we work with, and trying to change like the shittiness that is in the music industry. Like, the music industry does not have to be a shitty place, and we want to make it better for ourselves and the people that we work with. So we do this for the love, but a donation goes a long way in allowing us to do this better for you. Drink some water, practice some self-care, support an artist, like support an independent artist today, retweet an artist that like no one's heard of before. Like, y'all, there's so much good music. Yeah. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. See you next time.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in to episode 69.
Nice. You just wanted to say that again.
Oh, absolutely.